Hey, this is Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Zone.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You have found the Paranormal Zone, and it is time for the last call. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghost. My name is Patrick Kaufman, by the way, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghost, the paranormal poster boy himself, Mr. Michael Carbino. Mike, this is a crazy, bizarre topic for certain.
It is. I've already got my answer.
Oh, awesome. Well, we could save.
We just skip everything. And
we could spare everyone, 30 minutes and just tell them what we think right off the top of the bat. Nah. We won't do that. No, it's the last call is where we make the call, our own personal call, yay or nay, no shades of gray, real, fake. What do we think? No straddling the fence on this one, and this is an odd topic for sure. And this is another one that you came up with, Mike.
Be certain.
What was that?
To be certain.
Oh, to be certain. Yeah, absolutely. But this is one that Mike actually sent to me as a suggestion. I had never heard of it before. Had you ever heard of this topic before, Mike, or was this fairly new to you as well when you stumbled across it?
Yeah, it was pretty new to me too, and I glanced at it, and then I thought, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. So I read a little bit more, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
great concept.
We are
would make a great movie, or at least a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, exactly. A Twilight Zone episode. I can absolutely see that as the case. But we were talking about none other than the urban legend, the mystery of the Philadelphia Bus Zero, or otherwise known as Wandering Bus. Phantom Bus? I'm not so sure about the Phantom Bus because it apparently, by all accounts, isn't like a spectral vehicle. It's
but it comes and goes. It pops in and out.
Yes, and it appears to be fully, physical in form.
Comes from nowhere.
Where you could touch it. You obviously can climb aboard and ride away upon it.
Yes.
And
ride.
It apparently it's like if you were feeling down in the dumps and you are despondent and you are at your wit's end, and you happen to be wandering the streets of Philadelphia, apparently this bus comes out of nowhere.
Yes, and if you put an extra quarter in, your seat will vibrate.
Now, that's an extra special edition that I had no idea was reality, Mike, so thank you.
But it only vibrates in very small areas that are very strategically put on the seat.
Yeah, okay, very good. We got you, Mike. Now, this sounds absolutely loony. It does.
But very interesting.
Very interesting. And according to several paranormal investigators, there are a lot of people out there, Mike, in the Philadelphia area and the surrounding area who swear up and down that this is real, that this has happened to them.
It has happened to them. There are people that say that.
To get to the gist of it, as I said, this kind of, I keep wanting to say phantom bus, but it's not a phantom bus.
No.
But it's basically like a bus of salvation. It's a bus of emotional salvation. It's again, as I mentioned briefly, that if you're a tortured soul, if you're despondent, let's just say it. If you're suicidal, this is
you're kind of at the hitting rock bottom.
You're hitting rock bottom for sure. This is like if you take a ride on this bus, it's like your chance for redemption type thing.
Yeah, and
I mean. Just stopping right there, like you said, Mike. That's an awesome idea for a Twilight Zone.
Sure.
Twilight Zone episode. That's so Twilight Zone-esque.
Yeah.
Did you go meh or yeah? I couldn't tell there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Sorry. You kind of froze up a little. You froze up a little bit on me, so I heard like meh. The Wandering Bus is another name for Bus Zero. Most of these sightings, according to the witnesses and according to those who have experienced this, have taken place in the areas. I do have to read this one. This is most often spotted in the areas of West Powelton, Center City, Posyunk, never heard of that, Posyunk, Haverford, and Dauphin. So
yes, that is correct, sir.
Those who have claimed to have rode the bus said that they felt compelled to do so for reasons that they can't describe. They can't even put into words why they felt compelled to get onto this bus. All they know is that while they are wandering the streets, trudging along the streets, they feel lost and alone, and they feel like this appearance of the bus is almost as if a lifeline was being thrown out to them, like a last chance thrown out to them.
But the bus slows down on the first pass by the person, and just to make sure that is this person in need of this bus? Is he worthy? Is she worthy?
It's kind of scoping them out, kind of.
Yeah, scoping them out. But the bus driver never allows his face to be seen. But always seems to.
Now, what does that suggest to you?
Well,
if we're sticking to this being for the sake of the argument, for now, we're saying that this is legit. What does that say to you? Are you saying that, like, do you think that this bus driver is not allowing his face to be viewed, or is it just that those who have witnessed him cannot remember what they saw and they therefore cannot describe?
Good point. Because it never did come across as the bus driver having his face covered, like with a hood or anything.
Yeah, hood or a Lone Ranger's mask, or I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good question. It certainly adds to the mystique of the story. That you can never see is the face, if it was seen, would it be a angelic positive thing, or would it be a demonic thing, or is it something that would make somebody less likely to take that first step into the bus when the bus actually stops and the door opens?
That's a good question, Mike. Isn't that part of the story, part of the urban legend too, that like those, if you are one of the unfortunate few who upon leaving the bus you do not feel any better, isn't that like you know what, I need to find that article so I can quote it word for word here. Bear with me. I need to find it as quick as I can. Well, there's one here. Yeah, okay. The driver never allows his face to be seen, but the driver seems to sense exactly who is in need of assistance. I think you said that, Mike. Honing in on a likely candidate, like we said, scoping them out. The driver is almost like gauging them. The driver, upon seeing the bus and the driver for the first time, if the bus is intended to pick you up, if it is meant to happen, it's almost like the bus driver instinctive, or the patrons, by instinct, they feel that help has arrived, and therefore that they're going to get on the bus. But if you choose to ignore it, you're not going to get another chance.
No, that's it. You only get one chance.
Let's see here. The bus driver at that stage, his goal is to only make his presence known. If the dejected soul wishes to board the bus, he or she must wave it down and ask to be allowed inside. Then it's a matter of whether or not permission is granted, upon which the doors are opened, allowing them to step into a place where they will be forced to face their demons head on. That's really interesting. So what's going on there? So it is like their life being flashed before their eyes there? I mean, what's happening?
It kind of seems like that, because whoever chooses to go onto this bus, they're sitting in their seat and contemplating like their entire life and what's brought them to this really low, sad point. And the demons that they have to face are these things that brought them to where they are. And it's your job to think through them and ponder enough to resolve the issues in your own mind.
And kind of maybe take such a deep look into yourself that
Mhm.
as to like where the root of the problem really lies. What is behind your despondent nature, your
Mhm.
despondent state.
Right. And there's no talking on the bus. Everything, it's all quiet because every passenger that has been picked up and is riding this bus, they're so absorbed in their own turmoil and thoughts and inner struggles that there's no talking. It's just everybody on there going through their own, thoughts.
You know what just popped in my brain, Mike? It's like, is the bus driver like a, it's going to sound silly, is he like a spectral, omnipotent psychiatrist? A psychiatrist from the other side, because
Omnipotent.
Yeah.
Maybe it's God.
They're there. I mean, they're not physically all lying on a couch, but that's kind of essentially what's happening.
Yeah, right.
They're burying their souls. They're deep diving. They're soul searching, and the bus driver is there simply to listen. Maybe.
And not respond, though.
Well, how often do psychiatrists respond? They never
sure.
give you an
They're just
answer. They never
drawing
do.
little pictures of faces and things on their paper that pretending to take notes.
Well, there's a great scene in the movie. There's something about Mary, an old movie now.
Yeah.
The main character, Ben Stiller's character, is lying on the couch in the psychiatrist's office, and he's just laying his soul out. He's bleeding his heart out, just bearing everything, and the camera zooms outward and it shows that he's talking to an empty chair and the psychiatrist sneaks back in.
Yeah.
He has like a napkin shoved down his collar because he's just been out to lunch. He's trying to come in quietly without Ben noticing him.
Yeah.
And
then there's a famous hair gel scene with
yeah, that didn't involve a psychiatrist, but
with Mary.
Yes, of course, with Mary. But I don't know. I kind of like that idea though. It's like a paranormal psychiatrist, or if when I say omnipotent, maybe that's too strong of a word.
Yeah,
because then it means that he's everywhere and he's all places at all times. Omnipotence. So
yeah.
Maybe he's a messenger from that who is that which is omnipotent. Or a servant.
Or it could be Ralph Cramden.
That too. That's a great point. No one's seen Ralph Cramden forever. So,
yeah.
I'm just
for those of you who do not know Ralph Cramden, he was
half the listeners.
Jackie
like,
Gleason
who?
on The Honeymooners. He was a bus driver.
Okay, now getting back to the story at hand here, it does say here that an automated voice announces the name of the intersection from which the person was picked up. No mention is made of where the ride will end. No fare is required. Some of these people who claim to have experienced this say that they are offered whatever change they had on hand, or that they offered whatever change they had on hand, while others paid nothing, and the driver just continues to stare straight ahead, refusing to engage.
It does not engage with the passengers.
Simply motions for them to take a seat, and all the while not looking.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if the patrons, are they trying to look at his face, and he's constantly turning away, or there's some unseen power that's not allowing them to look at him?
Yeah, I think through their memories of the whole thing, they just have no recollection or remember that they had not seen the face, or did not. Maybe it just didn't have a face.
That's terrifying.
Maybe the deep contemplation that they were getting ready to get into is just already phasing out things that they were seeing.
This bus ride, the journey has embarked. Time for deep reflection for all of the patrons. It's a time of
they
soul
immediately
searching.
start feeling that feeling of trance-like and deep reflection when they sit down. It's like it comes over them.
It's almost, you wonder if the bus itself is some sort of
it's something that's disguised as a bus. It's actually a great big meditation booth with
Yeah.
you
Right.
go out the back door and you're actually in a what looks like a bus, but it's actually where tantric yoga is being done.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
I don't know.
It's during the period when the journey begins, that the events that led them to the point of desperation, the patrons to the point of desperation, are dissected one by one.
Yeah, this is interesting, I think.
Every possible scenario and outcome plays out in the recesses of their minds. Every possible scenario and every possible outcome.
Right.
That could be an infinite number.
Right, exactly. And what's interesting here is that it's not people that just come on the bus and they sit there and they start thinking or contemplating.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is, there's some kind of a force at work here that is playing these things over in their mind. Like, so they can figure out what they should have done. What could they have done differently? It's like, throughout life, you have to choose the right path to go on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always choose the right path. I mean, this in one point of this person's life could have shown him as a young child, and he should have taken the right fork in the road. Instead, he goes to the left, and that it just starts a domino effect for the next 10 years of where things are just spiraling down.
Absolutely, man.
And these things are shown to them.
It's like it's a small example of like the butterfly effect. It's kind of every flipping, every decision that you think is mundane and means nothing. Well, it does. It potentially
It absolutely does.
Potentially means the world. I mean, it really, really does. As the patrons work through their issues while on the ride, the riders become aware that there are actually others on the bus, although no one ever seems to recollect who they were or what they looked like. Again, so you realize that you're surrounded by other passengers, but you have no details, no memories of what they looked like. Yeah. So that's intriguing. Again, no word is spoken aloud throughout the entire journey, which could last up to several hours.
In some cases.
Thank you, Mike. Please continue. I was just going to say what I believe you're going to say.
Yeah, it could last for several hours, but in some cases, if some accounts are to be believed, the ride can continue for years.
That's crazy.
But there's no time recollection of time for the passengers. They don't know if they've been in there for 2 minutes or 2 years or 10 years or 3 hours. They don't know.
Is this a slip in time type experience that's going on?
Very much could be part of it. Yeah.
By the way, quickly, again, Mike, we just spoke with Mr. Chris Jericho on his awesome podcast, Talk is Jericho. We were lucky enough to appear on it last Monday for the second time. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. But he mentioned briefly, because I asked him before our chat was done, I asked him if he had ever had any paranormal experiences himself. And he said, well, nothing really major, but I did have such and such and such. And what did he tell us that he had? Just kind of nonchalantly. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, very nonchalantly. He had a time displacement.
Yes.
Occurrence that happened in his life. And boy, we just wanted to ask him so bad.
I know, but we're like,
what it was, but we didn't get into it. But maybe the next time we're on his show, maybe.
But is that something that's going on here? Maybe.
Yeah, it's very possible.
And it just continues to get odder and odder.
Yeah. And during this whole thing too, is that it's these passengers cannot see through the windows. It's just there's nothing they can see on the other side of the windows of the bus. Mm-hmm. It's like there's nothing.
Is it just black, or is it just or they can't even see blackness? It's just there's just nothing. That's interesting.
Crazy. But when they're ready to come out of it, and when they've contemplated and have things situated and put in the right order, and they're ready to be done with the ride, then they start to slowly see through the windows, like the bright city lights ahead, but at nighttime, twinkling in the night, and that's when they
like snap out of like their trance.
They're coming out of it, and they start to see, but that's not until everything is resolved and put back in order, and you're fixed.
if you are one of the lucky ones who are fixed, you're kind of you're revitalized. You almost feel kind of, dare I say, reborn. Not necessarily like
sure.
your problems are solved, but you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You see there's hope. Hope has been restored.
Yeah, and like when they can't see through these windows, they do have a sense of moving. So the bus is traveling through space and time or whatever.
Something.
Maybe it's dimensional. I don't know.
Now, like I said, way back at the beginning of this, there are some who gain nothing from the experience. And when they exit the bus, they find out that they're no closer to their personal emotional salvation than they were when they first entered the bus. And unfortunately, this outcome is supposedly thought to be reserved for those who have committed acts against humanity.
Sure.
And like acts, stuff that we don't necessarily enjoy talking about or thinking about. And they soon learn that even on this bus where everyone else's misdeeds and errors are attempted to be cleansed and washed away, that theirs were unfortunately not. So is that like suggesting that there's there's a drawing there's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for, Mike? Like a fine line that cannot be crossed. It's like, well, you're allowed on this bus, and if you hadn't done something this terrible, if you are truly seeking salvation, you are allowed on this bus. If you're only seeking forgiveness because you're afraid of what might happen to you when you pass, but you truly aren't sorry for what you did, then you're not going to find salvation on this bus. I mean, I'm really reaching here. I get it, but
that's all we can do is theorize about that. It's.
What do you think of this, though, Mike? I mean, this is. Let's get to the yay or nay, no shade of gray here. I mean, I think we kind of gave everyone a good idea of what's happening with this urban legend. Let's just call it what it is. It's an urban legend. What's going on here, Mike? Talk about it a little bit before giving any final verdicts. So to speak. I wonder,
if some of these trips for certain people could take years, why don't we hear more of people that have vanished and have been missing for 8 or 9 or 10 years, and then all of a sudden they show up again?
Well,
or even 2 years. There's so many missing people that in this world. Like on Jericho's show, we were talking about, what happens to these people that disappear? How many thousands just in the United States alone disappear every year, or how many a day? Are these people that are still on this ride? Some of them, I don't know.
Well, Mike, it's funny that you just brought that up, because I'm going to read this here.
Okay.
It says here that some passengers, upon entering the bus and when the journey embarks, they come to the quick realization that they can't handle having their emotions laid out just bare right in front of them.
Oh, I'm sure.
And supposedly they have been known to pull the string on the bus and demand to be let off this bus prematurely. And the driver, the unseen driver, is forced to oblige, leaving them exactly as he found them physically and emotionally. And it is only after the bus pulls away that they realize too late that they let their only chance at happiness slip away.
Yeah.
There are also others who try in earnest but are never quite able to come to terms with their own actions, and as a result can never make them right. Striving for a breakthrough that will never come, they ride the bus forever, and their loved ones never know what became of them.
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
Wow. That's absolutely fascinating. That's kind of troublesome.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, it's like, so what happened to little Johnny? Well, he's on the bus to nowhere.
little Johnny that's lived a life so horrible that he's.
Oh my God, I know. Okay, sorry, Big Johnny. But,
Yeah.
It's man.
Big John.
That's kind of sad.
Bad John. Okay.
Ooh,
Anyway.
wow, that was really cool. Good job.
Yeah.
You start charging for that, Mike. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to it, Mike. What do you think's going on here? And yay or nay, no shades of gray, my friend. It's that time.
Well,
I'm curious.
as hard as it is for our feeble little human minds to wrap it around something like this, if it's real or not.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's is it an alien abduction that is has that where the aliens have put
I like that.
cover story in your mind? It's like, oh,
Wow, that's a
I'm going to
great
be
way
made
of
to
looking
think
at
that
it.
I am fine on this bus and just contemplating life and in a trance. Well, all the while, there are 3 gray aliens, and each one of them has their thumb up your ass, and you don't know it because it's a cover story. I mean, it's an implanted memory that you're not going through the abduction. You're just fine on a bus, just traveling and contemplating life and fixing your problems.
While being anally probed.
Yeah.
I just had, for some reason, I had the vision, terrible vision of like being lifted up by this unseen force and being placed upon your rump, upon like the clutch of the bus, and you're spun. You're
the shifter.
the shifter, yeah, and then you're like spun around. You're like, it's like, okay, let's see where it ends. That was a crazy little vision there. I apologize for that. That was my allergies kicking in, so that's fine.
Oh boy.
Not the clutch itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, alien probing out of the way here. I do like the idea, though, Mike, of it being like kind of like a cloaked version of alien abduction almost. Or,
Right.
or the false memories being planted in their
False
brains.
memories. Yeah.
It's like
They do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, also, how many of our own odd personal experiences that we all go through could be related to some sort of alien interaction? We don't know.
Yeah.
We do not know. I mean, my dog just puked in this kennel. That could have been caused by an alien. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
You mean there's no such thing as a 6-foot rabbit?
I don't think so. Not sure. Yeah,
Ugh.
beautiful hair. Okay, sorry.
You got a pretty mouth.
All right, Mike. I really like that idea. Do you have any other thoughts on it, or you want to just give your yay or nay?
Oh no, I'm thoughted out.
Your thought is out. That's a good word. Good phrase. Good
I've
phrase.
drank way too much Diet Coke tonight.
Yeah, he's buzzing. He's on a caffeine high right now, my
Yeah.
friends.
Okay, yay or nay? Now, this is something that I've thought about as, very deeply when I was researching this, and I was listening to what your thoughts were on it, and I was kind of building this large sack, if you will, full of information that I take.
I don't know
I
why
take
that made me laugh
I take
for some
half
reason.
of the information I got it, and I in my mind I squish it with my hands into a round spherical ball,
A malleable ball.
and then I take the other half that goes in the other direction, and I squeeze that in my hand in a malleable ball, like you said. So I got these two in the sack that I've envisioning this sack.
So
with
let
these
me-
two
so let me-
large malleable balls in.
that you are holding in your hands two malleable balls and a sack.
Malleable balls of information.
Oh, okay.
And-
Just clarify.
And they're in a sack, and I separate through both of them the best that I can, and I have come to a conclusion. I must say,
Mhm.
I have.
All right. Let's hear it.
I think it's shite.
Okay, boys and girls, longtime listeners know that Mike, how many? We're going on well over 20. Formerly One Last Take, and now The Last Call. at least 20, maybe 25, maybe even more than that. And Mike, for the majority, I'd say 90% of them, you've said that you've given the yay, the big yay. This you were pretty adamant that this was definitely a
Turd pile.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't even know how much time I want to waste.
Yeah.
To
well,
get...
you know, hey, it's a ball sack full of shite.
Apparently, it's a malleable ball sack full of shite that Mike is clutching ever so delicately in his hands while he's contemplating something. I'm not sure. Well, let's see here. I'm going to massage my balls in a sack. But not those that Mike is suggesting so sickly that he always does. Yeah, I would have to say, without any further ado, I'm trying to find something that makes any sort of sense. Well, first off, when I first heard the story, my initial reaction was simply,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, yay or nay, no shades of gray. Am I going to say I'm a believer, Igor?
No.
Yeah, I would say no for sure. I'm looking for the loser horn. I just can't find it. So, Mike, when it comes to this idea, definitely I am giving it a big horses nay. Big time horses nay. So.
But boy, it was fun to talk about.
It was fun to talk about. And who's to say? Just because we're saying we think it's not true.
Yeah.
We're not
there
saying
are things out there that
how do we know? How do we know?
That we have no idea about that would make us shudder.
I love the idea though, man. It is
it's an awesome
idea. Like you said, that sounds like a terrific episode of the Twilight Zone or any sort of cool paranormal original fiction type stuff. I love the idea.
Yeah. The whole story just smacks with black and white.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but with, like you said, the shadowy bus driver, you can't see him,
Yep, you can't see out the windows.
Can't look out the windows.
It's like you're looking out into a fog.
But you can sense
with the windows little damp with moisture and humidity.
All you see is
you swipe that off with your hand and
you just see the slowly forming impression of a ball sack. No. See, now I can't get. My mind's all over the place here, Mike. So,
you look ahead where the driver is, and he's got one of those brass balls hanging down, like what you see at people's trailer hitches on their pickup.
And apparently, aliens abduct people and spin them on the clutch. Since I'm such an idiot, but no, the shifter.
Yeah,
so.
I think you need to take back that comment.
No, I won't. It's left in there. Well, Mike, this has been really cool. Unfortunately, we're both giving it the big time. But you know what? That doesn't say that we are right by any
means. Absolutely not.
Well, Mike, this has been a blast. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much for joining me for the flagship part of the flagship podcast.
Hey, it's what I do.
I know. I always have a great time hanging out with you, my friend. I love talking all things paranormal, odd, and mysterious with you, or strange and mysterious, I should say. So looking forward to next week. Looking forward to the next Patreon episode, and onward and upward we shall go. Looking forward to the Jericho episode dropping for sure. It's going to be a great time for the Paranormal Zone and our listeners.
Yes, and also tentatively in 2 weekends to come.
That's right.
Is a great possibility that we are discussing, and we are going to try and make it to the White Stone Battlefield. It's about 2.5 hours, 2 hours from where I live, where there's a nasty, well, they call it a battle, but it was more like a massacre.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to do some ghost hunting out there and see what we can
investigating. Man, let's make it work, man. Let's make it work.
Yep. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. So until next time, boys and girls, we can't thank you enough. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed recording it and putting it out for your hopefully listening pleasure. Mike, until next time, what do our paranormal pals have to do?
Just in the most mild manner, sit back, relax, and peace out.